welcome to Confessions of a Refashionista. I'm Refashionista Sherry, and I am here to show you how simple it is to live affordably, sustainably, because it drives me absolutely insane how expensive eco-friendly products truly are. So yeah, that's what I do here on my little old channel, and over on my blog I share tips, tricks, and tutorials, refashions to, help you save the planet a little bit, while also keeping that oh so precious money where it belongs, in your wallet, in your bank account. So yeah, if you're new here, welcome and enjoy. And today I'm actually going to be sharing a little scrap busting technique that I learned a few years ago, because you know what, it's summertime. And what is something that we all can so easily make for our summer wardrobes? Cutoffs! Adorable, quirky cutoffs. Cutoffs are like one of my favorite things because, I mean, come on, you're cutting the legs off jeans. How easy is that? And you know what? Add a patch. Something else. Corduroy cutoffs are just as awesome as denim cutoffs, and these are actually, I think, a pair of men's pants, and so they're super extra comfortable because they fit quite loose. And yeah, just, cut them off just like you would denim. I shall link down below for you guys my super awesome how to fray denim and clearly corduroy technique. And yeah, you can just grab your scissors, grab your old jeans, your old cords, and make yourself some funky cutoffs. But what we are here to learn today is what to do with the chopped legs. I mean, like, come on, you have these long legs now left over, and do you know what you can make with them? Let me show you. You can create for yourself, or as a gift for someone else, some absolutely little adorable scrap busted monsters. I mean, I love making stuffies out of, scrappy material because, come on, they're so adorable, they're so unique, and they are so simple to make. So why am I chattering on? Let's get making!
This is Confessions of a Refashionista.
For this quick and easy, oh so adorable scrap busting upcycling project, all you need is a pant leg or two, your sewing gear, and your collection of scraps from your previous upcycling, refashioning projects. Now, if you don't have scraps, that's totally fine. Just grab, some old shirts or whatever you have on hand. But, I mean, clearly, I keep those little pieces of lace and doilies and funky fabrics and all of this kind of stuff, because you just never know when it's going to come in handy. And I mean, for doing any kind of scrappy projects, you need scraps. These also make great little patches, just everything. But whatever, let's get making our monsters. Okay, so let's start with our denim leg here. And the first thing we have to do is get rid of that bulky hem. Very easy. Oh, and if you're not sure what to do with these hems, I mean, look how nicely they wrap around your wrist. And I shall link for you guys my tutorial for making awesome denim bangles and even rings. So yeah, check that out. It'll be down below. And maybe the eye, is it up here, is going to have it there too. Next, we're going to chop out these bulky hems here. And you know what? You can actually use these kind of leftover bulky side hems that you chop to make the bangles too. So now I have the front and the back of the leg. They're separated, and I think I'm actually just going to use the front part of the leg for this project and save this for something else in the future. So now I have to decide if I want my monster to have arms or legs, or just, what am I going to do with it? So first, let's decide the shape we want. So we can do, kind of short and stout, or a bit longer even. Which one should I do here? You know what? Let's do short and stout because it's just funnier, I guess. Okay, now that we've decided on the shape we want to have, I think this one I want to do similar to the other ones that I've already made and just kind of have little legs and some horns and the face, because then, you know, I can add it to the little family that already exists that I have here. So here are my previous little denim leg monsters that I made. And I mean, come on, they're adorable and they definitely deserve to have another member added to their family. So for this guy, you know, this is just an old fleece scarf that I used for his hair. And yeah, the you know, horns, the the collars here, and then the feet. I mean, it's just so adorable. This, I think, was like a piece of old sweatshirt material. And yeah, so I'm going to go through my scraps and put together the features and everything for the latest creature edition for this little family. And, you know, going through your scraps is like the funnest part, really, because you are absolutely putting together a creature. I don't know if you can hear all of that kind of tippy-tappy, but yeah, that's my old man baby Jack who's who's trying to make his way over here for a snuggle. So I'm gonna give him a snuggle. Then I'm gonna go you know, grab my scraps and get my creature together. Okay, so here is what I've come up with for my next monster stuffy creatures. Okay, so here, I actually made this. This was one of my earliest video tutorials on my channel, was how to make a very easy collar necklace. So, I mean, I really had this for years, and I think it's time to repurpose it for, yeah, let's give it to this little monster here. Okay, next, I didn't have any more of this particular fabric left in my stash because I made something different out of it. Clearly, it was made years ago. So I thought, this scrap makes some cute horns and little feet. And yeah, I've already cut out a little heart from this, and this is actually left over from another project. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put all of the tutorials that I have these leftovers from down below for you guys, so you can, you know, go see what they started life out as, and yeah, now what they're turning into, these little leftover bits and scraps. And I had totally forgotten about this, but I had this scarf forever, and it kind of got mangled and destroyed in the wash. and so I've already kind of have my sights set on something else for the most of the scarf. But yeah, I chopped out this little piece because I think it's going to make some really awesome kind of bohemian looking hair on this little monster here. But what I do have to figure out is the eye. And just gonna grab my my bag of scraps of felt here, and I mean, this is, you know, just scraps of felt, and there's also some felted wool bits in here, some pieces of old blanket in here, but these little scraps make really good eyeballs for your creatures. So I think purple, it's like my favorite color, purple. And let's also, what do you think for the actual eyeball? Green, purple and green. Okay, I think I got all of my bits and pieces, you know, sorted out here for this this monster. So yeah, I'm gonna go, you know, trim everything, and then we're gonna see how to put it all together. So now I have my basic eyeball here, and I'm just going to pop on over to my machine and stitch it on with a tight zigzag, and then also, you know, add in with the machine, just, you know, kind of, I don't know, some kind of iris here, maybe a circle, maybe just a line like I did with the other ones, but just, you know, to pick out a little bit of detail after it's all stitched on. Now, if your machine has any kind of embroidery stitches that you've been wanting to try, now is the time to do it when you are, working on these scrappy monsters, because really, there are no mistakes. So why not use like one of these fancy guys for making the center of your monster eyeball? Alrighty, the eyeball is in place, and I mean, again, this does not have to be perfect at all. The whole goal is that it's adorably imperfect. So yeah, just simply stitched on, and then this tiny bit of machine embroidery here in the center for an iris. And yeah, let's move on to the next step. So now I want to put on my adorable little collar, but yeah, how are we going to do that? Because I want this to be in the front. Well, very, very simply, gonna make sure the button is done up and then fold it evenly in half. Chop up the back. And voila, I can now position it wherever I want it. And I'm just going to flip up the actual fold down collar part, because when you stitch it together, you want to stitch under there and along the bottom. So when the collar, it can still fold down nicely, and it'll conceal your stitches too. So I'm going to go stitch this on now. Okie doke, now my little collar is totally stitched on. So now it is time to, what should we do next? Should we do the feet and the horns, or the hair maybe? But I don't know, do I want to put the hair on? I'm not really sure. Oh, I'm not really sure if I actually really like that now that I have all of it starting to come together better. So you know what? I'm not going to put on the hair. But again, part of the fun is, deciding, should I do this? Shouldn't I do this? And yeah, we are not going to be adding this. I shall make another monster. Or you know what? This might actually look good with the cords, right? Because it's a similar color. So yeah, let's set that aside for the cords. All right. What am I doing? Oh, yes, the horns and the feet. Let's make those. Okay, I'm getting a bit excited and I'm getting ahead of myself. So before we make the horns and the feet, first we need to fold this pretty evenly in half, which, you have your little eyeball there and all your stitch marks to kind of guide you. And is that about even? Yeah. And now I'm just going to do a straight line down here, leaving the bottom and the top open. And yeah, I shall return. So I actually just did 2 really quick stitch lines straight through to, this is now kind of created the tube of of what the final shape of my creature will be. So now I'm just gonna chop off the excess, and that can then go in the scrap bag. All right, now we're gonna kind of flip this around. Ta-da! Okay, inside out and right side out. It is slowly but surely coming together, and we have an awful lot of fray going on, so gotta hurry up here before it all frays apart on me. But yeah, you can kind of see what the final product is going to look like now. So let us move on to the little feet and the horns. This actually is pretty good, I think, already here, because let's just chop there and chop there and chop off there. Okay, and this actually already is, sewn into a tube, because this is, the chopped hem from a dress. So actually my little feet are nearly done, because all you need is 2 little tubes of fabric. So I think though, because this is like basted shut, I'm gonna go and give that a more secure seam. And then I shall show you how to make your little feetsies. So to create your little feet, you just want to take a small piece of fabric, fold it in half, and then stitch together 2 of the open sides, leaving one end open, and then just flip it right side out. And yeah, there you have your little feet ready to be stuffed and added. And for the horns, you're kind of doing the exact same thing, but in a triangular shape. Then you chop off the excess and flip it right side out. Now, because this is kind of skinny, I like to use my little upcycled tool here, if I can even get it started. Okay, and this is just a wooden chopstick, and I just really carefully push it up and right side out, really carefully. I mean, again, it depends on how delicate your fabric is that you're using, but have a delicate touch when you're pushing up and through here. Okay, and yeah, there we go. Now I have two little horns and 2 little feet. So let's go put the whole thing together now. So before we put the finishing touches on the groovy little upcycled monster, I'd like to share my quick little tips for stuffing. Now, of course, pillow stuffing is literally no different than the stuffing that you get at craft stores. The only difference is pillows are a heck of a lot cheaper, especially if you get them at discount stores. I mean, you can pick up a cheapy pillow for less than $1 sometimes. And also, if you have some old pillows lying around your house, like you've, replaced your bed pillows or whatever, simply give them a super wash in hot, and yeah, the stuffing is absolutely fine to reuse for your projects. Now, if you do have bags of little scraps lying around and you know you're not going to use them for anything else, then go ahead and use your scraps as stuffing. And this is, absolutely free. I mean, these 2 bags here would actually make some really soft pillows, or even like 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, 6 different little monsters as well. So, I mean, seriously, all of your scraps, save them, use them in other projects, use them as stuffing. It's keeping them out of landfill, and of course, it's free. Alrighty, so I've stuffed my little monster legs and my little monster horns. So now let's put it together and yeah, get some stitching. So I'm just going to pop my legs in. And of course, you need to have the sewn toe part facing inward. And just, position these really wherever you want to, with the open edges lined up with the open bottom edge, and then pin in place. Okay, so I have my legs and my horns pinned in place. So now I am simply going to go do a secure straight stitch straight across the top and totally seal that up. And then on the bottom though, I'm going to leave a bit open here in the center between the little legs and just stitch over to one side, over to the other side, again, leaving that part open so I can flip it all right side out and then stuff it. Ah, how adorable is my little monster. Now it is time to stuff and stitch up the hole. So now I am totally ready to stitch this opening closed. So I thought maybe you want to see how I do this. So I have already anchored my stitch just here on the inside, so my thread is not going to go anywhere. And then I fold in the kind of raw edges on each side of the opening and then pinch it closed so the folded edge is nicely at the top. And then I do a whip stitch. Now a whip stitch, and I think this might be kind of hard to see because it's pretty much identical thread color here, but a whip stitch is basically when you go from one side to the other and you are looping your thread over the top. So like, can you see that, I hope? Like so. So your thread is actually looping over from one side to the other side. And that gives a very tight and secure seam. And I mean, seriously, because I'm using thread that is pretty much the exact same color, you really will not be able to see this at all unless you're looking for it. So yeah, I'm just gonna continue, and we'll see you when it's done. And la, the monster is totally finished now and ready for loads of snuggles. Now, yeah, I'm gonna go make the other one, and then let's put the whole family together. And here is my little corduroy beauty. So she has this fantastic bohemian scarf fringe hair and a lovely eyelash as well. And again, this is just little pieces of felt. The eyelash is just some felted wool that I had, you know, a little scrap of. And yeah, a little doily skirt on there as well. And she is simply adorable. And of course, I mean, my very handsome gentleman here with his wonderful collar, and just adorable. And here is the whole gang all together. I mean, seriously, so adorable. This guy here was actually the very first upcycled monster I ever made. And that was a long time ago, way back when I lived in Germany before my kiddo was even born. So a really long time ago. Now, here is a quick tip. If you are making these for children, kids, try not to use buttons for eyes. I mean, especially if your kiddo or the gift recipient is teething, and also these kind of, you know, little things that are easy to come off in mouths. It's much better to, you know, do these nice softy type of eyes here, and maybe not so much of the floofy decorations. But of course, for older kids, for adults, for yourself, you know, do whatever the heck you want. These are just, I mean, it's such an adorable way to get through your scraps. And I mean, they do really make great little gifts for people. You can totally personalize it for the person you're giving it to. You can even kind of make it look a little bit like them if you want to. And, you know, you can make them any size you want. Here is another one that I made many years ago. And I mean, he's tiny. He's just a little guy. And so really you can make these any shape, any size. Use your imagination. Go a little bit, you know, refashionista cuckoo if you have to, but definitely go bust your scraps and create a whole bunch of little monsters. And yeah, let me know, actually, do you want more of these kind of scrap busting, reusing type of tutorials? Because I have lots of them. I mean, not all of them are trapped in my head. A lot of them are over on my site. I have a whole index called scrapbusting. So head on over there and check it out. And yeah, pop by, of course, at refashionistasherry.com. Everything is over there. All of my free tutorials, my ebooks, my fab over 40 reviews, and of course loads of pre-loved style information, inspiration, and ethical fashion information, and again, my celeb copycat looks. I'm thinking of maybe kind of switching up my videos a little bit and maybe making another release day, so I will be doing 2 videos a week, and I was kind of had a thought going around. Do you want some kind of life advice type of videos? I know it might sound silly, but it was actually suggested to me. And you know, I'm 47 and I've lived and worked all over the world, and I've had some vast and varied life experiences. So let me know if you want me to share some of those, if you want me to share the things that I've kind of learned over the years about you know, how to live a happy life, especially if you come from a not so nice background like I do. I shall put the links down below for that info if you're interested in learning more, a little bit more about me and my background, and of course my living and working all over the world for over 20 years. Yeah, so I guess that's about it. Until next time, stay safe, stay well, and I'll catch ya on the zigzag.